everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Danna Wilberg. I am so pleased to have on my show tonight two authors who I just dearly love and admire, Linda Potter and Tina Coleman. They have written a book titled The Miracle of Self-Healing. It's here, it's available, and that's what we're talking about tonight, so I'm so happy you could join us. Tina and Linda, I'm so proud of you, and I'm just thrilled. And everybody out there is very lucky that this is now available. So why don't you start a little bit of talking about yourself and how this book came to fruition?
Thank you, Donna. We were in Providence, Rhode Island, probably 5 years ago, and a gentleman at the end of the workshop stood up and he said, "Where can we read more?" And Linda and I looked at each other. Sure, we can suggest other authors. You know, there's Brian Weiss. There's a lot of really wonderful authors out there. They have their own way of talking about hypnosis. It wasn't the same as what we were talking about that day. So we looked at each other and we knew then that we had to write our book.
Yay, and we're happy that you did.
We are too. Thank you.
Wow. So Linda, the book is about experiences that you've had in doing past life regressions.
Yes, the reason that we wrote the book in the first place is because as past life regressionists, Tina and I facilitated hundreds and thousands of sessions where people have current life issues and they went back to the past life to get the origin so that they could heal from their either emotional, anxiety, phobic issue or an actual health issue. So this was a no-brainer to do a regression and have them go back and get it and be healed from it. The book originated in our minds when we'd be in an airport and we'd run into someone that would say, "What do you do for a living?" And we'd share we're hypnotists with a specialty of past life regression. And they'd start talking about, some people would say, "I have this phobia about flying. I wish I had time for a session, but I'll probably never see you again. Is there anything you can tell me to help me with this?" And so out of our sheer desire to help, we took the guts of a past life regression in a 3-step heal yourself format and told them how to do it. And through hearing about how that helped them, we decided it's time to write a book about it.
That's great. Now, how hard was it to collaborate on something like this?
For me, piece of cake, because Tina was the other half.
But you guys are a great team.
Yeah.
So is there kind of an equal amount of experience going into this book? Did you experience the same kind of things with the people that you were working with as with Linda? Did you kind of culminate your experiences together for this?
Absolutely. Part of the book is about the actual past life regressions from our case histories, from our clients. Mm-hmm. And those are in there because we want the readers to understand the connection between their phobia or their health issue in this lifetime and the experience that happened in the past life that the emotion came into this lifetime. So in the book, there's stories from both of our clients. And we started the book with that so they would understand the connection and so they would learn the recipe, where the recipe came from in order to heal themselves.
Super. Now, why don't you talk a little bit about the types of issues you're talking about healing? Headaches. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Well, sure. I mean, you can take any issue at all. Like Tina said, the book highlights specific issues that are the most common that we've come across. Mm-hmm. And that will show the readers if they're dealing with a migraine, for example. We've got, gosh, Tina, what do we have? We've got migraine, weight loss, back issue. Depression, big one, depression. Reflux, another huge one. And what we do is we show past life cases where people had an issue, and it shows the readers, maybe you have a reader that has reflux and they're wondering how could a past life regression, for one thing, help. So we show them how that works and why they bring it into this life. And then in a do-it-yourself format, how to actually take that knowledge and heal yourself.
Well, do-it-yourself is a very generous thing to offer people, because a lot of times, you'll read case studies and whatnot, but there's no, like you said, there's no recipe.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of this book. It tells you how to work through these issues.
Right, it's a 3-step recipe. And before you can use the recipe, it's a really good idea to understand the connection between the phobias and the past life connection. So we start with 9 different phobias and health issues. I think there's 5 phobias and 4 health issues, so they can only understand the entire process of a past life regression, how the client came into the room, what their issue was in this lifetime, and then the history of the past life. And then we teach them to make the connections themselves, so that when they use the recipe and they're going through the steps like questioning their own issue, they have a feel for how it works. Like if they have migraines, everybody's going to explain that differently. One person might say that it starts in the back of the head. The other person might say it starts in the forehead. It's like they were kicked by something. And by being able to question their particular issue, then they can move on to the next step, which is asked to be healed. And we have healing statements for the top 9 examples that we've already introduced them to. And then this third step is the visualization. They heal themselves with a visualization, which is not only a visualization for releasing the past life connection, but it's also visualizing their healing.
Well, that's outstanding. Now, just what you said, people usually describe their pain in the experience they've actually had.
Yes.
Is that
Definitely,
true?
it's clues to what, without them even being consciously aware of what happened in the past life. The questions that we've set up in the chapter will actually give them the clues to probably exactly what happened in that past life.
That's amazing. Now, Linda, you've been working with meditation and other things as well. So are those kind of things incorporated into the recipe, the meditation steps? And
the aspects of this book takes you into the visualization aspect of the book is definitely a meditative type of thing that you will do at the end of the book. It's separate from guided imagery and that kind of thing, although visualization really is your own guided imagery. If, for example, you had a migraine that you wanted to get rid of, my suggestion would be, as we have in the book, to create a place to, first of all, get the migraine in a symbol, like a red hot ball, for example, that you would put in your hands, and then visualize or guided imagery for yourself to place it on a very cold blue iceberg and watch the iceberg melt. The symbol of, it's kind of like the bow on the package of the 3 steps that seals the healing, because now you're watching this symbology of that migraine completely disappear into the cold of the iceberg. And we know that visualization is extremely powerful. As a guided meditation facilitator, there's no question that there's healing in that. Couple that with the other 2 first steps of the recipe, and you've got a wonderful healing cocktail in that recipe. So yeah, I suppose you could say meditation is a part of it with the guided imagery.
Well, let's talk a little bit about past lives. Now, would you say that it's possible that people develop these symptoms at a certain point in their life because this is the point in their life, in a previous life, where something had occurred?
Tina, you want to jump into that?
Sure, it can be at the same time or the same age, but a lot of times it's an emotional connection. Let's take for an example, out of the blue, you can't go over the bridge anymore. 10 years you've been going over this bridge to go to work and you had no problems. One Monday morning you can't go over that bridge. Over the weekend, maybe your husband or your boyfriend, there was a breakup. And then you come in for the regression and you find out in the past life that you were actually thrown from the cliff because your husband no longer wanted to be married to you. When you're going over that bridge that Monday back in this lifetime, the emotional connection is, okay, my husband has just left me. Your soul knows or is remembering what happened before, and that you're going to fall off the bridge or fall off the cliff. So I think a lot more times than with it being age, that there's emotional connection to what's happening now to what happened then, and you're bringing in that fear or the pain.
That's very interesting.
And it's funny, Donna, how sometimes, like Tina said, I find most of the time it is an emotional connection. But every once in a while, there'll be someone that will have a history in their life of having phobic situations, that different type of phobic situations that pop up, and it's strictly because it's an age thing. So that at the age of 16, they go into a fetal position when visiting a different state as a youngster, because, 16 is still a youngster, because they're afraid that something's going to happen to their family. And you find out that in Persia, for example, they lost their whole family at the age of 18. So at the age of 16, their soul knows that pretty soon something happened. It's like a saran wrap layer of lifetime experiences that we walk around with, and they don't always show themselves, except if it's an emotional connection, or sometimes it is age. That same person that had that fear of losing their family, by the time she hit 18, the fear was completely gone, no more issue. Now that same person is in her late 20s, and now she's having a phobia about dying because she died close to this age in past lives. So it varies, but I agree with Tina, it's almost always an emotional connection.
That makes a lot of sense, because, that's one thing that scientists and doctors, they've researched the heck out of how emotions really work, and that's something that still remains a mystery. And spiritualists talk about we come to this planet to resolve these issues and to lead our journey in a uncluttered way to resolve these things first before we get to this nirvana or wherever we're going. So
lessons in every life.
Absolutely.
And if you don't get it right now, you're going to be faced with it again. It's like the woman that is attracted to the alcoholic abusive spouse, let's say, and he leaves her and she pulls in another alcoholic abusive spouse, because just maybe she's learning to stand up for herself and she hasn't quite made it yet. So we're so wise on the other side, because we keep charting these situations to have people come into our lives that continuously challenge us. But the beauty is when you see that golden thread, that, oh my God, I keep doing the same thing. And you understand the lesson is to stand up for yourself, and you do it, boom, it stops, and you start pulling better situations to yourself.
Okay, so that's kind of how the recipe works as well. You're kind of resolving an issue from a previous life. Now, do people come up with more than one of these? Are these like leftover things that need to be resolved before we move on to the next level?
I think it works the same with the past life regression or using the recipe. It's basically everyday life. There's many things that all of us have to work out. I think we came into life this time wanting to clean it all up, so that when we're finished with this life, we can go, great job done, well done. And it works the same way with the regression or the recipe, whether it's a phobia or a health issue or a relationship dynamics. You want to finish it. And so we've come into this life and we're given these wonderful opportunities in order to master it. And mastering it is letting it go.
Yeah.
So you're finished with it.
Well, I have to say, I had a fear of water, and I did a past life. It was a mild hypnosis. I saw myself in the ocean, and people were clinging to me, pulling me down because they were afraid, they were drowning, and they were trying to hold on to anything possible. And once I had that understanding, and it was a very emotional experience for me to remember this, afterwards, it's like, it's gone. It's
Isn't
incredible.
it amazing?
It's very amazing.
A lot of people don't know, they don't understand the value in past life regression, and mostly it's because it's a new concept for a lot of people. But the healing, like with you, it's profound.
Yeah. It's almost like, anything that when you make the connection, it's like now you have the flow back, and connecting to something that happened before and being able to let it go. It's like the mind goes, okay, done with that, move on.
Yep.
And it's over. But if you don't, it's going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back, because it doesn't know any place else to go.
Yeah, it's like having dirt underneath the rug that smells really bad. You can perfume the air and you can step over it, but you're still going to have that musty, icky smell until you pick it up and sweep it all out. And that's what a past life regression, or in this case with the recipe, you don't necessarily have to get your specific past life. And that's what's so incredibly unique about the book. You don't have to have a past life regression and know exactly what happened to you in order to heal yourself. And that's what's so unique about this.
Well, the fact that people can do this for themselves at home is very unique in itself. Because when you're thinking, well, I need to go to a hypnotist, how am I going to hypnotize myself? How does that work? In the steps that you take, how does one get into that meditative or that hypnotic state?
It's not even that. The 3 steps are, the first one's question your issue. We have 8 questions there, and you go through like, when did it first start? What does it feel like? What do I think might happen? Like, say, if it's the fear of heights, if I step too close. There's numerous questions there. Once you have those questions, then you formed an idea, a possible past life scenario, whether it was a death or just an experience. You now have an idea, a possible past life scenario. So you take it to the next step. You want to let it go. You want to release it. There's 9 different healing statements plus a generic one. So you don't even have to know what happened. You want to let it go. Whether it came from this life or a past life, you want to let it go. And then in the next chapter, the 3rd step is the visualization, which is like a little meditation. It would only probably take about 5 minutes. There's a universal one, and then there's one created for phobias and health issues. But you can actually, if you like the meditation that's written for the public speaking, you can use that one and just insert here, what your issue is. And you're healing yourself. It's really all about letting it go. It doesn't matter whether you believe in past lives. It doesn't matter really if you know what your issue was or where it came from. It's really all about letting it go. And then visualizing yourself on the other side, healed, doing what you could not do, whether it's going across the bridge, whether it's public speaking, whether it's walking without pain in your back.
That's amazing.
We have so much knowledge about our past lives, and this is the thing that the book highlights, because if you don't know exactly what happened to you, let's say you had a migraine, and we know this because it's just so many cases, it's in your face. And I would say to you, Danna, for example, where did your migraine originate? And let's say you told me, well, Linda, it seems to start on the right side and it wraps around the back of my head and comes through the right eye. It's always very specific, always is. In somebody else, like Tina said, might say, well, it feels like I got kicked in the head by a horse. But so let's say you said, well, it wraps around this, it starts here with a tingly and then it goes here. And you go back to a past life and you find out that you were hung and the rope was nestled on the right side of your head. It cut the blood supply off. It began to tingle, and the pain started to sear through the right side into the right eye. And that's how you left that life, was through the hanging. But through that, we know in so many cases that we have this idea already. You may not have known you were hung by a rope, but when you say it was as if a rope was here, you kind of think, well, maybe I was hung. Or maybe I did get kicked in the head by a horse. Or maybe with claustrophobia, it feels like I'm going to get buried alive. Why? Because you probably did.
Well, that's incredible to have those. And like you said, it's almost like you start remembering. It's like you open the door.
Yep.
And say, I'm ready for this,
And like Tina said, you don't necessarily have to know exactly what it was, but the question format gives you an opportunity to do, oh, maybe I do know more about my issue than I thought. Nobody asks us those questions.
Wow. Well, again, this is a book that I'm really looking forward to reading, and it's brand new, it's right out of the right off the press. And you guys have done a lot of work, a lot of research on this. What and this is a very generous thing to offer people, your expertise in letting them heal themselves, rather than saying, well, you can come and see me and I'll fix you. Why did you choose to do a self-help versus something that just possibly went into it without having people, and having people come to you for the results, rather than you just providing some sort of self-help?
I think we both feel the same way, that it was through our sheer desire to give something to people that weren't going to have a past life regression. And when we started to see how well it was working, we thought, well, people can always come and have a past life regression. If their issue is so deeply rooted, they can't seem to use the recipe and get rid of it, we're always available. But this is helping a lot of people without even having the book, just through meeting them in airports and hotels and places, restaurants. And it's really came out of our combined desire. We'd sit after traveling a great deal and say, what could we do? My God, these people continually ask us, they need help, so let's do it in a format like this. It's really simple.
Well, I want to read the endorsement. Linda and Tina have done a magnificent job. They worked with me for years, and I have nothing but praise for their abilities. This is an excellent read. Sylvia Brown, New York Times bestselling author. That's very validating and very impressive all at the same time. You guys have really, there's more to these guys than meets the eyes. They're just not authors. They're really very special people that have really worked hard to make this happen for everybody. So I commend you.
Thank you.
Very deeply.
Thank
now
you.
we've got a few minutes left. We want everybody to know what your information is. Where can they get a hold of you?
Well, our website is siteforhealing.com, and you can order the book from the website. Just go onto the website, on the front page, it says click here, and it'll actually take you to Create Space. They're producing the books for us.
Great.
And the phone number?
Yep, they can call 209-835-1146 and leave a message, and we'll call people back. And also go on Facebook. If you go on Facebook and you type in my name, Linda Potter, Tina Coleman, we have all of our information as it happens up on Facebook, all the current happenings with the book, and we're going to start book signing soon.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
people will know where to go.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's SITE, Site for Healing.
SITEFOR healing.com.
Great. Awesome. Okay, and Paranormal Connection, we've got some new information for you. We changed our blog and our email address. We are now at paranormalconnectiontv.blogspot.com for our blog. And if you'd like to email me, that's paranormalconnectiontv@gmail.com. We've moved to Thursdays. Hopefully everybody's joining us, and you can still see us on the web. Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. following Ancient Wisdom. Fridays at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 5:30 a.m. So if you're up on Saturday morning, catch us. With the couple minutes we have left, I also want to talk about Linda Potter is the host of our new companion show, Paranormal Insights, and we're so happy to have you.
Thank
so we're
you.
now weekly.
Thank you.
And so you're going to see Linda and Joseph Ernest Martin. So is that going well?
Oh, it's fabulous to be on board with you as your companion show. It's been a whole new experience for me. It's wonderful working with Joseph. He's a professional. He makes it look so good, as you do when you do your show. It's just amazing that this happened so quickly, that it's ushered all of this happening as it is now. But it's great because it brings more information to the people.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your baby with us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Again, that's The Miracle of Self-Healing. It's a beautiful book. It's going to be a wonderful read, and hopefully you're going to get a lot of benefit out of this. And please contact us. Let us know how you're doing, you know?
Yes.
I'd love to hear
Be great.
everybody's testimonies of how well they're doing following this recipe.
Absolutely.
So thank you again, and
Thank
thanks to my crew. You guys are the best. And any parting words quickly?
Just for people, I think I would just say follow your intuition, do what's right. If they think this book can help them, pick it up and read it and give it a try. It certainly can hurt, and it may very much surprise them.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Good night, everybody.